Hello, everyone, and welcome to the third episode of the podcast from both sides. I'm your host, Johnny, and my guest today is Polina. Hello again, Polina. How are you today?
Yeah, hello, I'm fine. Today I am fully ready to do the recording, the video recording, the audio recording. I am not in my full Slavic core, but I'm half of it today. Next time I think I will be dressed like in something bigger, yeah, but today I feel more confident. I can't say that I feel more confident talking, but at least looking better than last time. Yeah.
That's better, yeah, of course. Thank you again for joining me. Today, we will talk about something a little bit different, but not so different from the last time we met. Our episode today is about double standards. The rules change depending on the gender. So, as our listeners know, I will represent the male perspective, you will represent the female perspective, and we will try our best to be a little bit problematic, but at the same time honest to our true selves. And so, yeah, let's maybe get started, right? The point of the episode today is to see how society judges men and women differently in dating, in life, in careers, in many different aspects. Our first segment, our first part, is the icebreaker as usual. So the icebreaker is called Who Gets Away With It? So we will warm up, right? Today we're gonna call out the double standards that no one wants to admit that they exist, right?
Yeah, we will
So
try.
we will try. We might make a few people mad, but that's fine. So the first one I have is what's one thing your gender can get away with that others can't? What do you think, Polina?
Well, I don't use it personally because I don't like it. But the first thing that
Okay.
I think of is probably like, God, my cat is with my phone. Okay, I was saying, like acting a bit silly, maybe being a bit silly. I don't know. I think like this is not the thing that a man can get away with. Yeah, but
Silly in
like
what
a
sense?
woman, like she doesn't understand what you mean, or maybe like in that way. Unfortunately, I can't play that, but maybe I will learn someday. Oh my God. I will learn maybe
Okay, I
someday.
think
Yeah, maybe I'm not old enough. I don't know. Yeah, but just
okay.
what I'm
For
thinking.
me, it's for men. I think it's yeah. I think it's a bit of a privilege as well. Like, I mean, we do have maybe a bit of privilege in society, so we can get away with being a bit more promiscuous or being a bit more having more partners in life. That's something that women maybe get judged for, but men, that's okay because he's a man. I think society judges us differently in that sense.
But
What do
that
you think
sounds like
about?
the separate.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Who gets forgiven faster? Is it us men or you women?
Well, I was thinking about it before we started because from what I've noticed that I can say that there women get forgiven faster or men, but from what I've seen, there is always this one person in the couple that gets forgiven faster. Like they can say, they can tell you like we change roles, but usually that's not what I see. There's usually one person who can get away with more stuff, or maybe one person who gets forgiven most of the time. Yeah. But I think it can be both, men and women. I don't know from what your experience.
Okay, I believe it's women. I think women hold grudges more and they forgive less quickly because you remember much more than we do. We're like it's been 2 days, it's okay. Like I've already forgotten what the problem was about. I mean, we're talking about small problems here, right? But I think that's the case in my experience and the way I see how I see it around me as well. Is that we forgive and forget quite quickly. Maybe just forget, but
Yeah, but I think again it's the first type of the character that you have because I
Mhm.
I personally hold grudges and not for days, for years maybe. Like I can forgive, but like I can pretend that I forgave and forgot, but I remember everything. But I think that's like my personal trait because my girlfriends they are not like that.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think I'm the worst at that, and that's like one of the worst traits that I have, and the one that makes my life more difficult.
Maybe you should tackle that at some point.
Mhm.
Do you think men or women are better liars?
Yeah, I guess as a stereotype, maybe women are better liars.
Really?
I think yeah, but again, I'm maybe the wrong woman. I don't know because I'm the worst liar. Judging from my friends, And among my friends, I had women who are great liars. That may be just the type of people that I was friends with.
Okay. I think the stereotype for me is that men lie a lot. At least that's the stereotype that society has about us, that we lie a lot. Maybe we don't lie better. Maybe you're right. Maybe that's the difference. We just lie a lot, but everyone knows that that's why the stereotype is that we lie a lot. Because otherwise it would have been you, because we don't catch you, but you catch us. So probably that's why women lie better.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, but personally, actually, from my experience and from my life, I've only met one person that lied. I can't say that greatly because I learned her very
Hmm.
quickly and I could tell when she was lying, but she was lying all the time and it was like kind of sport for her.
Oh my God. I hate that type of people.
Yeah,
How's that
like she
possible?
could. Yeah, that's actually close to our topic because I remember she was talking to two guys and she didn't
Hmm.
want to meet any of them at the weekends. And she told one of them that she was. Oh my God! Again, I'm telling personal stories. Let's pretend it's made up.
Okay,
Like to
sure.
one of them,
Sure. She's not real. She's not real, of course.
yeah, she doesn't exist. Yeah, to one of them, she said that she's going away. To the others, she said she's sick. And I was wondering, like, why do you lie? Do you give different lies? What's the point if you are not meeting them anyway? And I thought that it looks like a sport to her. Yeah, and in other cases, I think like, the people I know lie maybe the same, sometimes, not that often, I guess.
Okay, right. Then one more question in the icebreaker segment. Who's more dramatic, men when they're sick or women when they're mad?
When I was reading that, I remember there's one meme. I'm not sure if it's Russian or it was just translated into Russian. Maybe you've heard of it. Then a woman can only understand the suffering a man can go through only while she's giving birth. The suffering he has to go when he has a cold.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, there's something on Instagram. There's something called man sickness or man cold. Basically, it's when we have cold, we really suffer a lot. And apparently, there is a scientific explanation about it that our testosterone acts against our immunity. So basically, because we're men and we have more testosterone, we basically are less immune to that type of thing, and then that makes it suffer more. So we suffer in a different way, let's say, and that's proven by science apparently.
Yeah,
So I
sure.
don't know.
Someone will
It's a
say
guy. It's
like,
a guy. It's a guy who said that. So,
yeah,
so I
yeah.
don't know.
Someone will definitely say like, of course there is an excuse to everything.
It's a guy who said that. So I don't know. Yeah, but that's basically it. That was our first segment. Thank you for that. Let's get to the main topic. So our main topic today in our second segment is two sides, two standards. So basically, I think that double standards are real. For example, if a man is assertive, he's confident, but if it's a woman, maybe she's too much. She's a let's call her a bitch. So maybe that's how society is still until today. We still can get away with stuff. What do you think about that?
Again, I'm thinking like from the other aspect, like where are you from? Again, we are talking about it all the time, but I don't mean like the country. I mean the West, the East. But generally, I think yeah, the stereotypes they are real. Probably the extent they work on it can be different. So like in some places, the stereotypes they are very much alive and people live with them. In a lot of places, even here, I notice it that it's got so much different over the past 10, 20 years. Uh, yeah,
What
but
changed in your opinion?
I think there's a separate topic for each of the segment.
Okay.
Yeah, if we're talking about what? About men's assertiveness, confident type, then I think women can be confident too, and they can have the first move. I think
Hmm.
it's not forbidden in the modern world and here too. Yeah, but of course men do it more often. But at least we can say
That's
that
true.
it exists, like both both ways.
Okay, maybe let's touch, because you touched on datings, let's maybe start with that. Who do you think faces more judgment for having multiple partners? We did talk about that a little bit at the beginning, and I said my opinion at least. What do you think about that?
Oh yeah, definitely, I agree with you. Women judged more, which is real interesting. That I think women are judged more not only by men but also by the other women.
By other women? Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, like both. And again, I don't want to turn this podcast into a story time where people will recognize themselves here. Actually, again, a bit out of the topic, but we have this saying like you start icking when someone talks about you, and you don't have it.
Start icking or
Icking?
itching?
Yeah. Itching. No, not itching.
Ah, okay.
Icking.
Okay.
Yeah,
Your
yeah.
hiccups, you
Like,
mean? Okay,
for
okay.
example, I talk about my imaginary friend, and if she hears, not she hears, she's somewhere far from me, and she like
She
has
will
a
start
feeling
to
I'm
do
talking
hiccups.
about her.
No, for us, it's when you say someone's name by mistake, that means that person is talking about you.
Ah,
So,
okay, I've
yeah.
heard of it too, I think. So I was saying, we discussed it the other day. Like yesterday, I had my friends at my place, but at the other weekends, like a week ago, I had two of my friends, and we were discussing it. Like, okay, that's a very hard to explain, but my friend, so she has so she's single. Of course, she can do whatever she wants, and she gets judged by other women and by other friends, not her friends, but the friends of the friends, yeah, who know her story because she's not that secretive about it. And I was thinking that I actually don't judge other women, but I don't live that way, and I live way more different. But I listen to their stories from the perspective like I'm listening to some podcast, watching some movie.
So, well,
Like,
it's interesting for you, but I would never do that.
yeah, like I would never do that. I can't imagine that I can be in your position. Yeah, but just like I'm listening, it's entertaining in most of the cases. Yeah, sometimes there are funny stories. Yeah, but if I imagine myself at that place, I know that I would be paranoid. I would worry a lot about my safety, about a lot of things. Yeah, and I wouldn't be able to do it. But again, I can't judge them, and I also don't feel like I'm missing out of something because I'm young. I should do that too. No, I don't have that feeling. I feel like we are all different people.
Yeah,
Both
for
men
sure.
and women, they can live differently. But the other aspect that I want to touch upon, I think it is very important, is that, as you said, yeah, men can date many women in their life before they settle down, and women they nowadays, of course, they can too. Maybe not many, but a few,
Yeah.
a few
If you, if
before
you,
them.
if you, not as many as we are allowed to have, maybe. I
Yeah,
think
maybe not
nowadays,
as
but
many.
also I've seen online also a few women say that, hey, okay, if he's had women before, then he's, to the streets or for the streets. I don't know. It's probably, and maybe not 50-50 or like equal. But I think both things are being seen as bad nowadays, which is not necessarily true. I mean, it depends on how and why you had these partners, in my opinion.
Yeah, and why I wanted to talk about it that too, that I think it's actually okay that some women also start judging men. Of course, judging is bad, but I mean, like, it can be from both sides
You
because
want to balance it out.
yeah, I'm trying to. Yeah, because I can understand men who, of course, they have religious background usually. Yeah, they're conservative, and it's important to them. But I think it's fair if it's important to a woman too, and it's fair and it's equal. In that case,
Yeah,
like I
that's true.
think it's okay if women talk about that too, and they say it's important to me too. Then it's fine. Yeah, it shouldn't be like only from one side.
That's true. Thank you. Thank you for that answer. What do you think about when it comes to dating in general, the way people express their emotions? I think that women are seen, because they are naturally more emotional, it's okay if they show emotions, right? For men, it's like the only emotion we're allowed to show is anger. And if we're not angry, that means we're not, we cannot show any other emotion. Even anger sometimes is taking, oh, this guy's scary because he's angry. And if he's sad or down or whatever, look at him, he's not a real man. So what, I don't know. That is the feeling that I have regarding these. Why is it okay for women to show emotions but not okay for men?
I think we look at it as the natural thing. Women have hormones and things like that, and of course she's sensitive and something like that. Yeah, but again, I'm here for the second time in the position of the teacher, and I've noticed that small boys now, they cry, they complain, they do a lot of things, and I don't think that they are how to call that.
Feminine?
Yeah, you can say that. Let it be. They're not feminine. They're not looked at that way. I think that's because are these the millennials children? Yeah, I guess
Gen Z, I guess, right? We are
Gen
millennials.
Z. I guess.
At least me.
I think. Yeah, but I'm talking about small children. So your peers,
Probably Gen Alpha or something like that.
no, that's the children. Yeah, but their parents.
Other parents, yeah, probably, yeah, maybe
Their
my age, yeah.
parents, yeah, they have a different mindset. Definitely, they
Mm,
have a different attitude. I believe, of course, people complain like we will raise a lot of soft people, soft men, but of course, maybe in a way. There's a saying, I'm sure you've heard of it, yeah, like
yeah, soft men
about hard
create
times.
weak times create
Yeah, yeah,
strong. Yeah,
that
exactly. I know this one.
exactly, yeah. But I
Yeah, it's a
think it
stereotype,
has,
but it's maybe it's true, right? Maybe it's true. To
it's
a
true,
certain
yeah.
extent, I think. I think we as a generation are also, we have a lot that is going for us. But I think people, and I think this is also a difference between who's lived in more rich countries and more poor countries, which is have lived a tougher life, so they know really what to complain about and what not to complain about. But even when you live in a poor country, you will still complain about the Wi-Fi and about the electricity. But when you go maybe to a rich country, you still complain about the Wi-Fi, but not about the electricity anymore because you have that. So I don't know. I think that's my experience at least. So it's just you have less problems to complain about, which makes, and also your problems are very small compared to others. But yeah, that's it. One more thing I have on this topic of dating.
I want to say, what was the question?
Yeah, are men expected to earn love while women just have to deserve it? Because I think that's the stereotype, right? That the man should like follow the woman just because she's special. The woman is a princess, and then he has to conquer her and please her and whatever. And she deserves love because she is a woman and she's beautiful and blah blah blah. But a guy has to earn it by bringing something to the table, by being a provider, by bringing something to the table, by being a guy who does this and this and this and this and is independent and is whatever. While a woman can just be a lazy girl who just does nothing, sits in her parents' place forever. She's 30. She did nothing in her life, but still deserves love for whatever reason.
I'm not sure if it's the same, but when I was thinking about it, I remembered that I remembered the saying that I heard from my teacher, and then I
Mm-hmm.
heard it a few more times in my life when they give this advice to young girls that it's better if they choose a man who loves them, and even if she doesn't love him back, because that way, so someone loves you, you take this
Mm-hmm.
love, and maybe in the process you will love him for his attitude towards you. Yeah, I've heard it many times, and I've heard how we get information nowadays from stories, from reels, from things like that, from different interviews. Yeah, when one famous Russian actress, she's I think no over 50, maybe over 60. She said like she married her husband and she didn't love him, and I was like, wow, that's really
That's
strange.
crazy.
Like,
Yeah,
yeah, like
exactly. To say
why?
that out loud to everyone in the world
Yeah,
also
and
is
then
weird.
she said like I got used to him, and then I started loving him for his attitude towards me, and which wasn't the most surprising thing. The most surprising to me were many people in the comments who were saying like, yeah, the same to me. Like I did the same. I didn't love my husband, and there were just a few people who said like, how is it possible?
This
And
is crazy.
the woman said like I wanted to start a family. My husband
Mm.
also no, actually there was one more. She said like we didn't love each other. Like the husband also didn't love his wife. I just wanted to start a family. He wanted to start a family. We were old enough for that, and
Mm-hmm.
we decided to have children. And after that, many years later, we realized that we love each other because we are together and things like that. Yeah, but
Okay, but
my
that's I
favorite.
think That's, I think, is a little bit of an old school mentality, or maybe it's an East West mentality, but I think in the West there's a bit more push to, find your person, be in love with that person. Even in Hollywood and in movies and series that we watch, it's all about love and finding that person and romantic stories and whatever. And I think, I don't know, but in certain countries, this is not the importance. The important is to get married and have kids. Whether you like the person or not, it doesn't matter. So I don't know if this is a East-West thing or an old generation versus new generation kind of thing as well. But I disagree with this thinking, to be honest. I think you have to love the person. Of course, you have to like them as well to be able to live with them, but you also have to love them.
What is more important to you? Of course, people will say like you can't choose, but I think we all have the answer in our heads. Like, what is more important to you, to love somebody or to be loved?
Yeah. Is that a question to me or?
We will discuss it because I
Okay.
think it's not gender related. I don't think it's gender related actually.
Okay.
Yeah,
Do you
I
want to
already had a story where it was gender related, yeah, but in my life it's not.
do you want to discuss it now or at the end or towards
Yeah, I
yet
think
later?
it's connected. We can come to
Okay.
that.
Okay. Cool. Then maybe we can switch topics a bit and talk a little bit about the careers. In career and ambition, do you think that women are labeled intimidating when they are more ambitious? Because men usually, that's how they should be viewed in society. A man should be ambitious. If a man doesn't have an ambition, he's a loser. But a woman, when she's ambitious, is it intimidating or not?
I think it's not that intimidating anymore in the modern world, from what I've seen. Yeah, maybe if she's the big boss, like of some very big company, and she has a lot of employees, then maybe. But to the certain level, I think it's not that intimidating like it used to be before. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
don't know
think
what.
so as well. I think nowadays it's quite normal to have women that are ambitious about their careers as much as men, and I think that's quite normal as long as the person is happy with that and they balance their life like that. That's fine. And some people don't want to have family and kids and whatever, so it doesn't have to be all about that. Some people really care about careers. I think in general we still view traditionally as men that they're more ambitious and the leaders. Maybe that's just how genetics and society are. But yeah, I think it's more and more accepted to have women that are ambitious and in leadership positions as well. You think, touching on that point, can a woman be both? Can a woman be?
Yeah, definitely. I think being bossy is actually another type of being feminine.
Mm,
I think, yeah, some people have a certain type for that they would even like it more.
yeah, I think so. The femme fatale, the woman that basically
Yeah.
comes and takes control of everything, is also a kind of feminine thing from a female perspective, like control, but from a female perspective. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, I thought that you were about to ask, like, if a woman can be both. She can be bossy and she can be feminine, like at home, being a mother, being a wife.
That could be that could be that, right? What do you think about that? Like, can she balance? Maybe that's a separate question. Can she balance career and home?
Actually, I think to some extent, because again, if she's a big boss and she is not home all day long for the whole week, then she needs maybe a husband or maybe some other relatives that help her raise the children. But again, it's both for men too. Yeah, if a man is also all at work all the time, then he can't balance. He can't have work-life balance too. So
Yeah.
it can be both. Yeah.
Yeah, I think nowadays though, like if we talk about random an average couple, you will rarely find a housewife anymore, right? It's mostly two people that work, even if they have kids, right? I mean, the kids are mostly gonna be in school. By the time they come back home, maybe one of the parents has came back home as well, so it's or they pick them up from school and they go back home. So it's kind of being like that, right? The school is now the place where the kids stay until the parents are coming back from work.
Yeah, but what do you think about this trend about threadwise and things like that? Why did they get
Oh
popular
yeah,
again?
true. That's a good question. I don't know if it's just a trend on Instagram. I don't know any people in my circle that are like that. I see many people that are couples, but I see both people working. The only exceptions is that like right after giving birth, of course, then the woman of course has to naturally just stay home with the kids doing maternal leave. In some countries you are forced to do that, or you are allowed to do that, not forced, of course. It's a good thing to have. But I mean, I think in the first few years, women tend to stay more at home. But to do this full time in 2020, we are recording this. It's quite difficult, I think, unless the husband really has a lot of money or can make a lot of money, because living on one income in this economy is quite quite
Yeah, but in that case, he has to work a lot and like not being at home all the time. Yeah, but
exactly.
I think it's not just a trend. When I was a teenager,
Hmm.
maybe 10, oh, it was 10 years ago, like another trend, yeah, 2016.
Showing
Yeah,
showing
I
your
was
age.
16. I think it wasn't very cool to say that out loud among not my peers, of course, among people who were over 20, in late 20s, in 30s. Like, even if a woman wanted to stay at home, she wouldn't
Hmm.
say it out loud, at least online, yeah? And with this growing trend, I think I've noticed more women, not in my circle, yeah, but I've noticed more women saying that. Like I wouldn't mind staying at home. Like if my husband is usually these husbands are they're conservative, they're religious most of the time. Maybe not all the time, but most of the time, yeah. I've noticed that people are saying that. And before it was like we live in the
I think
world, everyone should have ambitions.
I think also it comes from the fact that at a certain point, going to work, like if both parents are at work, right? And as I said, you have to put the child in school. If they're too young to go to school, then it's kindergarten or something before kindergarten, or you have to put a nanny. And maybe you're paying that amount of money, which is exactly the same salary of someone working, of one of the parents, let's say that the woman or the man. So someone would say, okay, well, why am I staying away from my family 8 hours a day to take the money and give it to someone else to take care of my kid? I could just do it myself. I think that's where it originally, or at least that's what I heard from some people, that's what they would do it. It's because it makes no sense to do that. And especially if you've got like two, three, four, I don't know, big families of kids, then it's worth it. And yeah, the money you would spend on a nanny or on someone to take care of your kids, and you would save that. But then that's basically saying, this is some people would say this is unpaid labor. The woman is doing unpaid work, but it's her own family, and then she wants to do that. Then that's different. I guess the whole point is no one is forced to do this or that. We have a choice.
And I've heard some women actually who are housewives, maybe housewives, as you said, yeah, for some period because they gave birth recently. They're saying that they have a wife's salary from their husband.
Oh, that's I never heard of that one. That's quite
I
interesting.
keep hearing more about it because I can judge from my experience. Of course, I've never been
Mm-hmm.
a housewife. Yeah, I can say that. I wanted to joke, yeah, but no, I wasn't. But I was raised, I think I said about that. I
Mm-hmm.
talked about it before that I was raised in the family where my father worked and my mom didn't work. She stopped working when I was 5 years old, so a very long time ago. And I hear some women saying like, my children will be thankful because I spent so much time with them. I put so much effort into their into raising them.
Mm-hmm.
But from my perspective, I wish actually my mom my mom worked. I fear it so much that I won't be able to work for longer time that I plan already. I plan to for a certain time to stay at home while I don't have a husband or children. But I already have these plans. Yeah, like I'm working online. I work from home, so maybe I can have a nanny for 2 hours, and 2 hours will be enough to for me to earn enough. Why do I have these thoughts already? I'm not sure.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
and from my
You're planning
perspective,
everything ahead.
I think that it's very important to have goals, to have ambitions, to have a career, but I can understand that it's really great if your husband provides and you can work not because you have to, like you can't you have money for food maybe, yeah, but like
Yeah.
you can help him like in a way, yeah, in the conservative
Yeah, of
society,
course.
like you work because you don't have to, but you want to, and because
Okay.
you are your
But
own person too.
in that case, maybe to go back to the first thing you said, or something you said before, the salary that these stay-at-home moms get from their husband, like, what is that salary used for? To buy things for the house or for herself, or
From what I understood, but my mom didn't have it. It's just
okay.
the modern thing that I
The,
read about.
but I mean, anyway, it's the same money, right? So it doesn't matter if she has it or he, like, if they should both have access to it. So I don't understand the difference between the money he's taking from the account and giving just to her. Is that separate from the money they use for everything else?
From what I understood, it's the money she spends on herself only.
Okay. Okay.
And the
So
money
not for the
for
kids, not for the house,
no,
just for her.
for kids, for house, I think this is the separate fixed money. I think
Okay.
that's how it works. And also, like they have the separate bank account, bank card, like only
Okay.
for their needs or something
Yeah.
like that. Yeah. And
So he
maybe it
sends
makes
her the
sense
money
in
to her
our
bank
world,
account. Okay.
I guess.
So for haircuts and makeup and whatever. Matcha with the girls. Cool. Speaking of society, maybe a little bit, who do you think is, or who do you think gets labeled toxic faster? Like
I'm sorry.
who is,
1 second.
who is seen? Yeah,
Why why she acts like that only when I'm busy?
she's
Only when I
jealous.
do something. Yeah, that's what she was doing. This is like a paper bag or something that she found somewhere. All right, who's more toxic?
Who is seen as more toxic? Yeah.
Yeah, I think as a stereotype, I think man. You can tell how many videos we haven't seen yet, but we could watch about narcissist behavior, love bombing, and things like that, and they are usually about man. But
Mm-hmm.
again, it's interesting that I found some TikToks, some videos when a woman. I watched a video about narcissist. How do you say
Narcissist.
the word? Narcissist, and I recognized myself, and it's a very popular TikTok, and I'm watching it like, why are you so proud of yourself?
There's so many people who are like that, but they just don't know it. It's talking about you. You just don't know. Yeah. I don't know. I think it depends on how you label toxic. What is being toxic, right? Being
Mm-hmm.
controlling, being trying to use the other person to your advantage, being like acting or lying in certain situations. I think that could be considered as toxic, and that's usually stuff that women do more when they're basically, they could basically twist your arm as a guy, and if you're, I don't know, in an argument, or if it's their fault, then they start crying and it becomes your fault, or whatever it is that they could do. And I think that could be labeled as more toxic.
Yeah, maybe
What do you
these are
think?
the things that women usually make videos about, and men usually don't.
Yeah, true. That's part of the forgetting. I think we forgot about it like 10 days afterwards. It's like, oh, okay, sure, whatever.
And maybe it also works from the other aspect, like women who have to stay at home if they gave birth not long ago,
Hmm.
they can be controlled easier, I think. Women can be put in such situations more often, maybe in some situations. Maybe
In what
that's
sense do
why.
you mean controlled?
Like, yeah, if she doesn't have a wife salary, like she can't leave her home.
Hmm.
She can't earn her own money. She has to be with the child all the time, and the husband can do anything. Of course, not in all families, but we understand like in such situations, he can get and have a toxic behavior because the situation it just plays not in her position. I don't know how to explain it. Like
Yeah,
in
okay.
that sense, yeah. But
Sure.
generally,
Yeah,
if we are
because
talking
he's
about
controlling the financial he's controlling the financial aspect of her life, so he can control what she does and where she goes and everything. Yeah.
yeah,
And
and
that's
she
actually
can't
part
leave,
of
yeah.
yeah. That's actually was a big part of why women wanted to go to work, to be independent of this and not being controlled by men. Now we're seeing people come back to the other side. I guess if you have the right person, you shouldn't worry about this, but you never know, I guess.
Yeah, maybe this is the right person right now, but in 10 years, he won't be.
Yeah, scary. Who
Yeah,
gets
life is
away?
scary.
It does, it does. It is scary. Who gets away with manipulation more easily? I have the answer for that one.
Yeah, like we discussed it a bit. I think maybe we
Yeah,
didn't call it manipulation. Yeah.
I
What
think
did we
it's women.
decide?
I think it's
What?
women.
Women.
Yeah.
Manipulation.
That's my opinion. But I think, again, as I said before, the crying, the acting, the lying, all of that is more stereotypically women that do that. So I think
You
they
mean
get,
emotional manipulation, yeah?
yes, yes. What's
Maybe
what's the other way?
the other way you mean not by emotions?
Yeah,
Yeah, someone will say like you're so lucky you don't have any examples.
exactly. You have not been manipulated yet.
Yeah, I might be too young, maybe, and
Mm,
unexperienced.
maybe. Okay, well, I think we have one here. At least it's one to us.
Might it be?
Do you think that double standards in general, do they come like from nature itself because of genetics? Or is it society that created this? Or is it just nonsense that we like to complain about, but it's not true?
I think both. It can be both. It can be nature. It can be
Both.
society. Yeah, it works well with both of these aspects.
What do you think more? More society or more are actual differences?
Oh, it depends on the society. If you live in a
Okay.
closed society, and then it will have the greatest effect on you. Forgot
An open
all the
society?
words.
An open society? Or what did you want to say?
Open society is okay. Yeah, I was thinking about another word. Like if it's not religious, then it can have both. No, not both. A lot of religions. And what do we call this?
When it
Country,
has
maybe.
more.
Yeah,
I don't
I
understand the
actually remember.
question. It's okay. We can. We can skip
Oh
this
my God,
topic.
no,
That's fine.
no, I need it.
When a
One
country has
second,
more
one
than
second.
one religion, like
Secular? No,
multi-religious, or what is the
no. What do we call it?
secular?
It's like a term. Do we call it a
Yeah, secular
secular?
is when the state doesn't
Secular.
have a religion.
Yeah,
But
but that's
that's
because
most
I didn't know the name in English. That's why I
okay.
couldn't remember it.
Okay. Yeah, it's when the actual country doesn't have a religion itself. The state doesn't have a religion.
Yeah. So
Most people could be religious, but it doesn't matter because the country itself doesn't have a religion, like the government. Yeah. I also think personally, I think it's more societal. I mean, sure, genetics play a part in the way we act based on hormones or thoughts or just because someone is bigger and stronger and whatever. So that plays a role as well, physically and genetically, but I think also society gave a different role based on that to people, like to men and women, and then we are trying to fit that role. At the same time, we get judged while for not doing it the way society sees we should do it, or people around us, as you said, see that we should do our role.
yeah, I agree. Yeah, it can be both. I can't say that I have only one opinion here. Yeah, just discussing.
Okay. Before we move on to the next segment, is there anything else you want to add on this?
No, I think that's enough.
Okay, cool. Then we can move on to segment 3, Hot Take Shakedown, Gender Edition. Basically, we will read hot takes and we will give our opinions very quickly. So I'll do one and maybe you'll do one and then so far and so forth. Hot take number 1. Men can't show emotions without losing respect. What do you think?
As we said, emotions can be different, yeah. So I disagree.
One from your side, maybe a question from you.
Yeah, but the pretty privilege. So do you think it exists, and if it exists for both genders?
I think yes, it exists, and yes, it is for both genders. I don't think it's just for women. I think it exists, and they even had studies on them. Since it's hot takes, maybe we shouldn't talk too much. But there is actually studies that they did on prisoners, and they found out that pretty prisoners get less harsh sentences than uglier people. So apparently, even prisoners get judged, like convicted criminals get judged differently based on how pretty they look.
Okay, yeah, for prisoners, I can imagine that because they don't have that many other achievements. But I don't know. I think maybe it's like that in Russia. But you know, this memes about a typical Slavic couple, I agree with them, and I think that yeah,
But that's
men's
different.
appearance.
That's not mean that doesn't mean that men aren't pretty. I'm just saying that pretty privilege. So having a privilege just because you're pretty, like usually society treats people that look good better than people that don't look good. And I see that in society. I mean, look at actors, look at singers, look at everyone, even on Instagram. Like the people who have the biggest following and followers are the people that look traditionally better because they're good looking. And we just like good looking people.
Yeah, but you're talking about
That's the
public
reality.
figures. About public
Yeah,
figures.
but
Yeah, I
even
agree.
random YouTubers or random Instagram people, like
Again,
just
random
because they're pretty.
influencers, yeah, we also we judge them by their appearance, but I mean like in any type of situation, like at work, and if it's work like in the office, I think pretty privilege for women, it exists like everywhere maybe. And as for men, I don't see it here that much. Of course, if he's an actor, he's a singer, yeah, of course it exists, definitely. Yeah, but if he's like a boss or something like that, I mean, I don't think that people care about it that much. Actually, sometimes I think that they care about the opposite. Like you
He's
shouldn't look
ugly.
pretty handsome. Yeah, it's like that's no. But again,
Maybe.
we can talk about Asia, yeah. And in Asia, the pretty privilege it works for both genders, and it's very
Yeah,
important for both
to
men and
look good.
women.
That's true. We touched upon this a little bit before. Men face more pressure to be providers than ever before. I don't think than ever before is correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. But I think we still have that societal pressure. That's fine, at least for me. But I don't think ever before. I think now it's leaning to be more equal.
Yeah, I agree. I think less than before, but it still exists.
Okay. Maybe one more from your side.
I would say it like that. I would put it like that. Who can get away with cheating? Like if someone can actually, who wouldn't be judged that much?
Women.
Women, really?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think men,
Interesting.
because we are categorized as cheaters. Are like there's the stereotype that a man cheats, or there's a lot of men that cheat. It's more common, at least if I look online, right? I see a lot. It's more common that women are complaining, "Oh, he cheated on me. He cheated on me. He cheated on me." But guys that get cheated on, they don't get pity. they get. He probably deserved it because probably he didn't fulfill her needs, or he wasn't a good guy, or he was poor, or whatever, whatever, whatever. So there's always a justification of why she left him and had a better man. But that's not the same for men. It's never he got a better woman. It's always he's an asshole.
I think we need to point out for our listeners that judging by the statistics, actually men and women cheat the same.
Is this Russian
Almost the same?
statistics?
I think no. But you
Okay.
know what it's sad? There is the difference that I was actually surprised, but maybe I'm surprised because my friends are not like that, but it's just my circle. Yeah, I
Okay.
can't judge it by that. And it's sad that if we take the age gap before 35, then women
Mm-hmm.
cheat more. But if we take people older than 35, then men cheat more. Maybe it's not that huge difference, maybe. Yeah, but
Okay. Okay.
the statistics said, yeah.
This is quite interesting actually, because I think stereotypically we just are seen to cheat more, but I think yeah, and we are not forgiven for it.
Well, I don't
At
know.
least.
Again, depends on the society because I was raised that way. I was taught like even now I was so much so surprised and my mom said like it's a man they all cheat like whatever. But when I tell her the story about my friend of the friend of the friend, of course she doesn't exist. Yeah, when
Mm-hmm.
she had these certain thoughts and my mom was so surprised like why would a woman cheat? Like that's so weird.
Why would a woman cheat? Exactly. See, but see, this is okay. Okay. Well, I
Yeah, like it's judged even by other women. I mean, of course, nowadays we take more than people. In 2020, it can be different. Yeah, but if I take the generation of my parents,
it's the
men could
opposite.
get away with cheating because, like, of course they cheat. Like, why are you surprised?
Okay. Wow. Well, that's
And it's
interesting.
yeah, I need to point out it's not here, it's not only my opinion. I had these long discussions with all of my friends, I mean female friends, and they all heard the same stories from their mothers. Like if he cheats,
But is
I
it a
don't
Russian thing? Is it a Russian thing?
I think it's a conservative thing.
Okay.
Like if you are at home,
Because you want
but
to keep
even
the marriage, then you're like you forgive him
yes,
and you just stay there. Okay.
yes, that's right. Like again, this is it might be a difficult thing to discuss, but we had again these talks that I love it so much when I and my friends we meet and we talk until 6 a.m. and we can't stop. Yeah, but during such times, yeah, like this is a stereotype about Soviet kitchens. Yeah, it's not the Soviet Union now, but we have these talks. Yeah, but we talk about different things now, not politically related sometimes too, yeah, but mostly about our lives, men, women, genders, and things like that. We were discussing like in my family, I think I said that before, but okay, you will listen to it anyway,
Yeah.
that in my family there are no divorces at all. Like my
Yeah.
parents, my grandpa, my aunts, uncles, everyone, and my friend too. Yeah, we talked about it with her, and I said like, of course, it's an imaginary situation. We don't know for sure, and we are glad that our mothers or our relatives they didn't involve us as children into such family dramas, so we know nothing about it. But do you realistically think that during their long marriages, no one cheated? And I and my friend said like, no, I don't think that's the case. I think like someone just and it's not like it was a secret. I think someone just had to forgive because
I think that's not a big sample, right? It's what? It's 8, 10 people. Yes, there you can find 10 people that don't cheat. I mean, if
yeah,
you're talking about
yeah,
all
of
the
course,
marriages in your family, that's probably not a big sample size enough to say, oh yeah, there's 10 people, one of them for sure cheated. No, I don't think so. And I think also, I don't know, religious people generally or more conservative people generally don't do that. But I mean, cheating can is frowned upon anyway in any society. But still, I hope no one did.
maybe, but again, I grew up to I grew up with this thinking. Anyway, it's none of my business. They are
Yeah,
my parents.
it's
They are
better.
my
That's
relatives.
better.
I shouldn't be involved in that. I'm glad I wasn't, and I
Yeah,
shouldn't. I don't know, take sides. Maybe like
yeah. I
it's
mean,
not
if
for me.
something happened and you know about it, then you can take sides. But in this case, there's nothing to take a side about.
Hmm.
Cool. Maybe let's move on to our fourth segment, the listener corner. So we've got a story from our listeners. There's a girl here who says, "My boyfriend says I can't go out with my guy friends, but he still hangs out with his female coworkers one on one. And when I called him out on it, he said, "Oh no, it's different. What do you think about this? Is this fair?
Okay,
Is
again,
this
who can't
bad?"
yeah, who can't go out with the coworkers? A girl or a guy?
So the guy is just telling her she can't go out with her friends, with her
She
guy
can't.
friends, and then that he's doing it with his female coworkers.
Mm-hmm.
Like he hangs out with them one on one. I don't know if this is at work one on one or outside of work. I guess outside of work. Otherwise, it makes no sense to complain about it.
That's a hard thing for me to discuss because I've changed my opinion drastically over the past 2 years.
Okay.
Because before I was certain that, of course, you can go go out one to one. It's nothing like a girl and a guy. If you're friends, it's nothing. Yeah, but then over a few years, and again, of course, it's a small sample. I understand that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Your
I've
friend,
seen
someone
like
cheated.
no, actually, luckily, no one. She at least I don't know about that. I'm glad that I don't. Yeah, but I've noticed that as these guy friends, they still act not like friends with these women. Like they don't mind
Okay.
being friends right now, but if they had an opportunity, like they would easily break the friendship. Let's call it that.
Okay.
Again, talking about trends, yeah, but it's connected to our topic too. I'm sure you've seen such videos where. What was the popular song? Like they were filming TikToks with the sound, like when she kissed her best friend or something like that. And in all videos, of course, this is the videos that they posted. The guys, they kissed them back. Like there was no situation when they
Where the
rejected.
guy doesn't kiss them back. Yeah, but we don't
Yeah,
know if it's fake or not, right? And of course,
yeah,
that's
we,
the one they posted because you don't want to
yeah,
post when
maybe,
your best friend rejected you.
yeah, exactly. Like maybe it's real. I can believe that it's real. Yeah, but maybe we just didn't see out, and maybe the ones that got popular, they were that.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
probably.
from what I've noticed, again, of course, men and women they can be friends, but in certain situations, not in
Okay,
all
but do you think
situations.
in this case this is fair from the guy to stop her from seeing her friends, but then he is going out and seeing his colleagues?
I think if they meet regularly, I mean, she meets with these guys regularly. I think it would be better if he also knew them. I don't mean that he has to be friends with them, but like, at least he knew these people. They were no strangers, and they discussed it. Like they're allowed to have their borders here to draw the line where it's not good for them.
I think it's unfair to ask someone to do something you're not doing. So if I ask
Yeah,
someone
that
to
definitely.
not
Yeah,
meet,
like it should
if you're
work
not
both
allowed,
sides.
yeah, if you're not allowed to see your friends, that's not. I think also saying you're not allowed, that's just weird for me because you cannot allow and not allow a person. They're not a baby. You have to agree with that person. Hey, that we both don't do this stuff, or we are both like this, or you both see your friends, and it doesn't matter. And as you said, maybe some people are comfortable with hanging out with people one on one, and some people are not because they have bad experiences or they know that people have done something in the past and you don't trust them anymore or whatever. Then they have to talk about this and agree about the same thing. I think this is unfair from the guy that he doesn't want her to see her friends but is doing the same thing. I think that's
Yeah,
double
that's
standards,
true.
basically. That's the
Yeah, in
definition
that
of a
case,
double
yeah, but
standard.
I was just thinking about something else, like, is it okay both ways, like, can they be actually friends? I was thinking about my my I don't know, not traumas, the things that I worry about. Yeah, and to
The
talk
thing that you
about it
worry
a lot.
about. Okay. um, right. So we've reached our last segment. Basically, bombs only is the segment. And I think you wanted to talk about something. I don't know if you want to say it right now or you said that we
This
can talk
one.
about it later. Yeah. Do you want to
Okay,
talk about it now?
I actually have two ideas.
Okay.
I think they will be quick. Yeah, because I read your idea and I
Mm-hmm.
realize what I can have in mind to say
Okay.
about that. One double standard I'll admit I benefit from is I've realized that just now that I get help all the time from men, the men I don't know. Like everyone helps me like wear the coat, hold the door all the time,
Mm.
but I have a feeling. I've realized it now. But it also happens not because I'm a woman, I'm feminine and things like that, of course I am, yeah, but probably also because I'm petite and they also have a feeling that I need this help. And what I've
Maybe.
noticed,
I think this is mixed with pretty privilege as well. Because I mean,
pretty
they're like, oh,
privileged
okay, probably.
again, but
That's mixed.
my
That's mixed
friends,
with that.
my friends, they're pretty too, but I've noticed that they have this look, like they're not
Mm,
satisfied with strangers talking to them, and they
yeah,
have
so
this
they're not
reaction.
welcoming. Okay.
Yeah, they don't have a welcoming look. I don't know why I have, but I think it has to do something. It has to do something with the stress, because when I start stressing, I feel uncomfortable. I start smiling, but it's not because I like you or because I want to continue talking to you. But I feel like I am, I don't know, easing the atmospheres here.
Yeah.
Taxi drivers talking to me, I'm just like politely smiling, and they're happy. They start talking to me, and with my friends, they're like, and maybe it's not it's a pretty privilege combined with other things.
Yeah, okay. So you have the face of someone who wants to talk, and also maybe you are a damsel in distress. You are something, okay, you have something fallen, or you need help, and then people are like, oh yes, I'm gonna help her because I want to feel like I
Yeah,
am needed. That's
yeah,
something
and
us guys
the
like to do.
last
We like to help, and we
smiling.
like to feel that we are helping people and we are needed, and that's actually quite something we like.
Yeah, and also might be the last smiling Russian girl left here. So that's why,
Yeah,
guys, I'm
exactly. I mean,
surprised.
that's not the stereotype of a Slavic woman. You usually have the Slavic stare or whatever it is, that you
It's not
don't
a
smile at all.
stereotype.
Okay, it's not a stereotype. Okay, good.
It's
Good
not.
to know. But you're breaking it. You're breaking the rules
Unintentionally.
unintentionally.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The other topic.
yeah. Go
Yeah, I
ahead.
think it's very interesting to discuss. To me, it's not. It can be partially gender oriented, but not exactly. Yeah, to me, no, not to me. First, I'm asking the question, like, what do you think for you is more important, to love or to be loved? If you could choose on the one.
Oh God, that's a very difficult question. I don't
To
want
me,
this to be
yeah.
published. No, I'm joking.
No, don't give any examples. Don't give imaginary names, friends.
Yeah. No, 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 exactly. No, it's not about that. I mean, hypothetically, we could only choose one. I think most people would choose to be loved, because you think that, hey, if I am loved, then I would get it. But I also like to love people. I don't know. Like I like love. I love love. I don't know how to say it. I think I'm like when I love someone, I give my best. So I don't know. It's hard to pick one. That's a very difficult question. I want to be loved and loved and love.
Of course, yeah, everyone
That's
wants that.
yeah, exactly.
And
It's a difficult
like
question.
people say, like in every couple, someone loves and someone is loved. Yeah, that's
I
very
don't
sad to me,
agree
but
with that.
I
I
don't
don't
agree with that.
agree. I
Again,
think
maybe it's for
there's
some
maybe
people.
yeah, I think no, I think I think people love each other. They just love each other in different ways. And maybe someone thinks that, hey, you love me in this way, but I want to be loved in different ways. And then they think that they don't love each other. But some people show love in things, some people show love in gifts, some people show love in affection, in talking and spending time with each other. So these different languages of love, they will have an effect on different people. So I think also that makes an effect. I don't think, I mean, if you love someone, then you love them. It depends on how you show that love. Maybe you think about them, maybe you whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, and I
What about
think
you?
yeah, I'll answer that because I have my
Okay.
answer. Maybe it
Okay.
wasn't that difficult for me to answer because I was thinking about it a lot. At
Mm-hmm.
times, when it's nighttime, I can't sleep, and I'm thinking like I'm in the interview, yeah, and I should answer that. Yeah, I have such moments very often. That's why probably I have a problem sleeping.
Mm.
And I think there are people also that I can't say that they're not able to love. Of course, as you said, I agree with that. That people they just love differently. But like from my perspective, what love is for me, when I see it from some people, I think like they, of course, they all can love, but to me,
Mm-hmm.
it's like not love in me enough, like not in the way that I need it. Maybe, yeah. What you said about it, yeah. And as for the question, I'm not trying to avoid it. Unfortunately, I think your variant is way better, and I wish it was mine too. But I definitely like that's weird. I like when I love someone. Like, of course, I want it to be both, but again, maybe it's coming back to the pretty
Well, do you
privilege.
think do you think is that a male versus female thing where
No,
women are
definitely not.
more caring and more nurturing and want to take care of the man, so they want to love him and give to him more? Because that's the stereotype, like women are giving more, right? And men are taking, or is it the other way around? I don't know.
I think again,
It's a
small
good
sample.
question.
If we want to have
Okay. Yeah.
the
Yeah, small
real
sample size.
statistics.
Small sample size.
Talking about small samples, most people I talk to, women, I mean, they had this perspective that they should be loved more and
Okay.
they can give something back. Yeah, actually,
Just
it's
enough. Just
connected
enough so the guy doesn't leave.
just enough. Yeah, and it's I think this goes through our whole episode today that
Mm-hmm.
a man has to work harder. Yeah, and
Yeah,
that
that's true.
way he loves more and she allows to be loved, something like that. I heard it more from women, and if we talk it like from the point of the gender, like women want to be loved and men want to love. But again, in
Maybe.
my life
Yeah.
and in my experience, I've noticed that I love to love somebody more, even if it's not a mutual thing, unfortunately. Yeah, because when I love someone, it happens once in a lifetime. I can say that, like once in 5 years, if I'm lucky enough.
That's not a
Yeah, maybe
lifetime.
that.
That's a lifetime of a turtle or something.
Yeah, but again, I have a small sample. I'm not old enough to say
Okay.
that
Okay. Okay. True. True.
it happens in that statistics. Yeah, not so often. That's why, and
Mm.
probably also again, maybe I'm just not an artistic person, but I love arts. I love songs, singing, poetry, and things like that, and it gives me a lot of motivation
To
to
love.
do something, maybe
To express your
to
love.
love. Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's true. And I had it not when I was an adult. I had it during
Mm-hmm.
my whole life. And even in my childhood, I also had that. Thinking about it, I don't want to get too emotional because I'm naturally emotional person. I'm just thinking if I ever had a mutual feeling with someone. Yeah, but I can tell definitely is when I loved someone, I felt happy, not for the whole time, because of course the reality it hits back anyway. It will eventually. Yeah, but if I was okay, maybe not loved. Again, it's my perspective, not loved, but liked very much. Maybe again, pretty privileged because I get attention, a lot of
Mm-hmm.
attention. Yeah, but I don't like it. Like if I don't like them back, I don't want this attention. I don't know how to explain it. Like I don't get satisfied with that. I know that a lot of women are like they love the feeling that they have a lot of admirers. They have a lot of so-called fans, yeah, who can help them, who
Yeah.
can be here, help them with anything. I don't know. Maybe I just not in the right position to talk about it because I have good friends, good family. They can help me. Like I don't need some unwanted attention and some unwanted people. I don't know. Maybe it will be. I think I talked about it. Yeah, like I even avoid saying not only my address but the territory where I live because I don't want this attention. Like
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
wanted to
Of
send me
course.
flowers, sorry, I've seen flowers before. I don't need them that much to give you my address. That's a bit too much. Yeah.
That's cool. Cool. Then I think we're towards the end of our episode. I would like to thank you again, Paulina, for joining us today. Where can people find you?
Yeah, where they can find me. Yeah, they can find my podcast. Hopefully, it will continue being released. Hopefully, but I'm not sure. My podcast is called Words Without Borders, and I don't know when will your episode be released, but right now the last episode was with Johnny, and we talked about I'm not sure if interesting things that this thing I like talking about them about them a lot. Yeah, and you can give it a try too.
Sure. Everyone should go and listen to your podcast. It was really fun also doing that with you. So thank you for hosting me as well. And thank you for joining us again. Thanks everyone for listening. I hope this episode was fun for you to listen and watch as well as it was for us. And hope to see you again. Bye
Yeah,
bye.
don't hate us too much for that.
Don't hate us too
For
much,
our
just a little
opinions.
bit. Please let us know in the comments if you hate us. That's fine. That gives us more energy. Thank you all. Bye bye.
Bye bye.